Who the fuck built this sandwich?
James has got a double-decker patty, like, right on top of each other with no... Oh, my God!
Yeah.
James got the most retarded Big Mac of all time.
It has two patties together.
On the top.
A bottom bun, a piece of cheese under that, and a bottom bun.
That's awesome. I want a Big Mac.
I know.
James has some fries for you if you want them.
No, I ate them. It's cool.
Oh, Chris ate them. Okay.
Fuck yeah, I ate them.
Chris, always the villain. No, Chris ate them all.
It's a good thing I majored in sandwich repair.
Yeah, really.
The fuck made
And
this
they said
sandwich?
there'd be no jobs.
Want to ring the bell?
I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
I'm a walrus, Daddy. Rebel.
I am the walrus.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to John Hates Movies, the movie review podcast where my friends keep me from appearing spontaneously out of nowhere and instead force me to watch movies. This week we have with us Eric Largent.
Tillio.
We have Colin McMillan.
You're a real human being.
We have James Barrett.
Whatever I want. That's a good philosophy.
And we have Chris the Toe Cutter Arsenault.
The artificial wood grain really turns me on.
What's that a reference to?
Wood on wood.
Okay.
Right.
So this week we watched Mad Max, the original. Everybody's ready for Fury Road. So we decided that we'd, this was actually a listener suggestion. A brief synopsis before we launch into our review here. In a post-apocalyptic future, a malicious gang murders Max's family as an act of retaliation, forcing Max to hit the open road seeking vengeance.
That's really the last 10 minutes
After
of the
an
movie.
hour of doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's actually approximately the last 17 minutes, because I happened to notice the timestamp at which point the movie got went from being awesome to being fantastically awesome.
Chris is correct. I also checked the spot in the movie where it went from nothing happening to a few things happening.
Like, an hour into the movie, I stopped and I had to get up and I was like, okay, when are things actually going to start happening in this movie? And it took another 15 minutes.
Yep. Well, let's tell them
You're telling me you didn't enjoy his wife's sax solo?
Oh, Jesus. All right. So apparently, let me just get this out there, guys, and then you can go to town, because obviously we have a lot to say about this. It's starring Mel Gibson, Hugh Case Byrne, Joanne Samuel, and directed by George Miller. Now, with that being said, let's hear from Chris, because I want to hear why this movie is good.
Yeah, how this movie went from awesome to even more awesome.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Well, if you guys can't understand how it went from awesome to more awesome, then you guys are failures to humanity, and I'm not sure I can explain
try
it with words.
look down inside
Okay,
yourself and see if you can do it. Though.
hominem.
Pull it up for us.
I can do it.
Okay.
I just really want to insult all of you first.
Fair enough.
Okay,
I reiterate,
so this is definitely
ad
one.
hominem.
Shut the hell up! All right, so this is really one of those. Once again, the quote nostalgia glasses
Right.
Yeah.
kind of thing. All right, so I'll admit, from most point of views, for cinematic story, whatever, it's not very original, and it's not, doesn't stand out. But for the time it was made, this really wasn't a storyline or a procedural that you were seeing. And it's not once again, it's not a unique thing, but they did it in an environment that was very, okay. First off, you have to understand that Australia is probably a bigger car and engine culture than America is. They are.
I did not know that.
They love cars.
It's
love
the last
racing.
of the V8s.
They love racing. They love their big V8s, and it's funny because they're one of the few countries that still produce a large volume of vehicles with a V8 engine. So you got to realize that you're coming from a culture that has a huge love of cars. Like I said, probably bigger than the U.S. And you throw a little bit of post-apocalyptic, a little bit of, cops aren't all that bad, but, even they can be pushed too far and still be good guys and then go on a bloody tangent of revenge. Here we are. The movie is slow.
Oh, really? That's news to me.
I'm not saying it at all.
That's funny because I thought that first hour where nothing happened really clicked along.
Well, and here's the thing, but that's really a sign of when it was made, more than more the production. You know what I mean? Because it comes from a time where a lot of movies in that era were slow. It's also an Australian-made movie, so I mean, it's not like you have Hollywood budget thrown at it. You have to understand that too. It really hits the heart, if anything, of car guys, and you laugh, but I mean, Car Guys it's a decent revenge story because you have this hero cop, badass hero cop, who hasn't done anything wrong, but even the wrong side of the criminal element came after him, and when they went too far, he went farther.
So, can you tell me what kind of car were those police interceptors?
Ford Falcons.
Ford Falcon. What's
Ford Falcon XB?
Even the Prowler? The Prowler was a Ford Falcon?
It was the very last one with the blower on the.
Yeah, that was a Ford Falcon.
Huh.
They were all Ford Falcons, different years, different a couple different year difference and slight model change. I want to say the Falcon that the one that Max drives in the end, the black car is. I don't believe that is. I believe it's not a stock front clip on it.
Our Ford. Hey. Chris Hughes.
I don't have an issue with that.
I know.
I'm aware of the car.
What I'm saying is these are the little things that you pay attention to in movies. Were Ford Falcons produced in the United States? Okay.
Okay. I
cool-looking
take that
cars.
back. Let me think on this. I don't believe so. I know if there was a Ford I want to say there was a Ford Falcon in the 60s. But that model of the Falcon, I do not believe was produced in the United States.
So is that like an Australian car?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So would it be like a Ford Wombat?
It's a Ford
Or like maybe a
Dingo.
Wallaroo?
Ford Kangaroo.
That's a
The
dingo
one
house.
thing I gotta
The kangaroo
say,
has big pouches
the
where you
Ford
can carry
Dingo
your
didn't
groceries.
do well because it kept on, driving away with people's babies.
Right. Crime.
I do like the
Crikey,
fact that
Chris.
the Prowler is kept around for the second movie, Road
yeah,
Warrior.
yeah.
That's the same car.
Yep.
So
Do they have the Prowler and the Fury Road
Yes.
trailers so far? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So probably
Probably for like 5 minutes and they destroy it, I'm sure. But
but it gets
it's
destroyed
really
in the
hard
second
to-
movie.
I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. I saw this movie originally when I was a kid. So from a kid's perspective, somehow I made it through like the first hour. Here's the thing: if you get through that first hour, you're rewarded with this great, revenge stuff. He's running these bad guys down with his badass V8. He handcuffs the dude to the truck and is like, "Hey, here's a hacksaw. You can cut through those handcuffs in 15 minutes, or you can cut through your ankle in 4 minutes." And walks away.
Now that's high tensile steel.
High tensile steel.
Yep.
And then they did it again in Saw, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's so original."
Actually, the makers of Saw.
No, that's
like,
fucking Mad Max.
Chris told me this, and I looked it up. The makers of Saw cite that scene as the inspiration for their entire franchise.
Oh, well, it's like the same thing.
They just took the idea and
Inspiration.
spun it out.
Yeah, you mean we took that one scene and made it an entire
And here's
Yeah.
the other thing: when you look at it, I mean, a lot of the deaths were kind of, and that makes more sense because a lot
Off
of the
screen?
a lot of the deaths,
applied.
well, I was going to say were not direct. He pretty much played the situation. They're running around with on their bikes, and a lot of it they run off the road and it explodes. Okay, with maybe the major caveat of the Blondie. I can never remember anyone's names. It doesn't matter.
That's a goose.
Bruno.
No, his name was Bubba.
Or no.
Are you talking about his
No,
partner?
Jim Goose.
No,
It's Jim
blonde,
Goose.
the blonde bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
The creepy blonde bad guy.
Okay.
I like him.
Not,
Yeah.
But,
not the toe cutter.
No.
Yeah, the blonde bad guy was
'cause
called Bubba.
he takes a fucking shotgun to the chest, but
Yep.
he kind of had that coming.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, what with being an asshole and all that.
Well, running down his family, running over his arm, you'd be a little pissed off.
It might make
he's a bit of a dick.
mad.
Yeah.
Sort of dickish.
So here's the thing. Okay, so you have this whole buildup of he's kind of fed up with the way things are going. Criminals are getting away with stuff for they obviously committed crimes and are getting away with it anyway. Because the system's broken. And he's fed up with it, and he wants to walk away from the whole fucking thing. And they, lure him back in with that car. So he still is fed up, so he takes a break. But no matter what he does, he can't get away from this crap. And it's one of those things he realizes both he can't get away from it, but there's something he can do. And obviously the major catalyst for the doing part is the death of his family. But, I'm sure he wouldn't have gone on this, trail of revenge. But it's this. It's
the only catalyst for anything that happens.
No. There's a lot of
the only reason they go
frustration
after Max
going on through the for the character through the entire film.
Yes. Very well mirrored by the audience.
Yes.
It is very frustrating. You're right on that. I felt the frustration of the characters.
But my point is, he doesn't. Most of the deaths, like I said, unless there's a direct imminent threat to him, he doesn't figuratively or literally pull the trigger.
Yeah.
He's just kind of, he runs the guy off the road. Well, okay, you blew up. That's not really my fault. Okay, you blew up because you were handcuffed to a car that was on fire. Not really my fault. Well, no, I'm not going to. Point is,
I gave you a clear way out.
He dealt out some vengeance that was well deserved to these individuals. And here's the
Some
thing.
street justice.
Yeah, but he did it with a badge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what kills me. He doesn't just go get the car. He goes and gets his uniform and the car and comes back and fucks shit up.
Does he have the badge in Road Warrior?
No, in Road Warrior he's like living like a scrap of a man.
Right. So
like,
Road Warrior, I
later.
thought I had seen Mad Max, but I had only ever seen Road Warrior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
Road Warrior is the one that put this franchise on the map.
because that was a good movie, right?
Yeah. Right.
As
Maybe.
far as I remember,
Maybe it was a good
I
movie.
used to think this one was one too,
Hey.
but I seem to recall
once
that
again,
Road Warrior was
really
I've rewatched this movie a number of times, and I admit there are parts where they're just agonizingly slow, and parts where it's just like
You mean like the part between the opening credits and the end credits?
No.
I was really gonna say like there are parts that are slower than they need to be, but they exist for reasons. Like the whole thing with the introducing the car and the back thing with the his chief and the guy bankrolling the whole thing. That stuff, that whole conversation, that whole aside thing goes really slow, but like it's not unnecessary. The whole thing where they're letting the one dude go from the police station when the lawyer shows up and shit gets drawn out, but you have to realize it's being drawn out for a couple reasons. It's kind of a lackadaisical whatever, this is a day, and then shit goes sideways when he gets to walk out, and tempers flare, but like it kind of, a lot of the scenes kind of function in real time.
See, that's not what I'm talking about with being slow. Like the vacation where him and his wife and his kid
drawn out.
just like that's a half hour.
Oh man, they seemed like they were really having a lovely time though.
Once again, this is coming from a time where that was okay to do. All Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
Oh yeah.
Fucking raindrops keep falling on my head.
That's a great
fucking
scene.
scene.
Good, though.
Don't you
That's the
call
worst
that into question.
fucking scene.
No.
In like,
I was on that bike
dare
with
talk
them.
shit about Butch and
no,
Sundance.
Don't
that's
you
the
dare.
scene.
Fucking movie
That's
of all
the scene.
time.
Don't you
I
fucking
would
dare.
trash.
No,
Fucking
Like,
dare.
I'm not hearing it.
I would rather watch the wife's sax solo than the raindrops falling on my head scene.
What about the music montage when they're down in Mexico?
That's great. They're all stealing shit.
Well, no, not the one where they're stealing shit. The one where they first get there and it's 20 minutes of still photographs with music.
It's a minute.
Oh, yeah.
It's 1 minute of
Felt
still
like
photo.
20.
My point
off.
is,
Butch and
so
the
Sundance
point
was great.
is, it came from an era where
Yeah.
films could get away with drawing stuff out and doing it slow and people weren't really bothered by it. The fact that we're bothered by it
Or
now
they were,
is
and they
more
just
a
wouldn't
sense
speak up.
of what is now part of the way cinema is run and the way movies are run. They're trying to get as much possible in a 90-minute segment rather than trying to tell as much of a story in a 90-minute segment. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. I agree. There are parts that are slow. There are parts that are not fucking awesome. I'm just saying. It's like, here's the thing. You know, I like the movie Bullet for the car scene. Like, anytime I watch that movie, I skip to the car scene. I watch the movie, I watch the car chase and shut off the movie. Because the rest of the movie...
That's Steve McQueen.
The rest of the movie is slow as shit.
Steve McQueen driving through the streets
watched
of San
it once,
Francisco.
and I can't sit through it again. It's because
well, there's a lot of that. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of that in the 70s.
Right, I'm just
70s
saying,
film pacing.
you can't call this one into question for being pretty much an example of exactly what it was from the time.
But Chris,
anyway, I'm still talking.
oh, yes.
Hold on. I'm still. So then we're finally awarded with this revenge that he does so well. He does it very stoic and straight faced, and really fucks their shit up. And I likes it. I likes it a lot. Plus, the whole biker gang is so ludicrous in this whole movie. It's entertaining. They're these outrageous caricatures of villains. They're Saturday morning cartoon villains that are murdering people and raping.
They're certainly crazy
and all that.
Yes.
And banging mannequins.
Right. And like I'm sure there were plausibly examples of bad individuals that did ridiculous stuff, but I find it hard to believe that a full ass fucking biker gang like that would be able to continue to rove around doing as much blatant damage to everything and keep being able to run around without being taken down at one point or another. Yeah, I genuinely can't I can't defend this movie to the point where you guys will understand where I like it.
Yeah.
But
That's not
I
your
can't.
fault. It can't be defended.
Jesus.
Colin just he's in the bushes and he pops out and hits you with a sniper rifle.
Like right between the eyes.
Yeah.
Right in the heart, right in the feels. It's like, oh,
Colin's been crawling on his hands and knees in the bushes, waiting for you to pop your head out.
And still has demonstrated more action than this movie has. So anyway,
Johnny with the
Chris.
So John
actually
rolled up on Chris's corpse and stuck a knife through his heart.
Oh man!
I just want to point out that all of you guys liked Convoy, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, because Convoy was freaking sweet.
Say whatever you guys want. You're wrong. Also, the
And
car is awesome.
I love this movie.
And I'm sorry, but you get to see a bunch of cars running around, a bunch of guys doing stuff, and that's all I'm looking for.
There is some interesting stuff happening in this movie, so I'm gonna hold back a little bit because I'm still kind of on the fence. So we have somebody who loved it. We have someone, Colin, am I right in assuming that you hated it?
No, Colin's just a dick.
Well, I don't know. You got that edged knife tone to you when we waste the same tone you adopt anytime we waste your time. What are you thinking? You hate it or don't like it? Or
I mean, I was going to hold until later on, but I can go now.
I think.
Actually, Colin, is this the first time you've seen this movie, or have you seen it before?
It's not the first time I've seen this movie.
Okay.
Well, actually, let's talk about that. Who saw this movie for the first time today?
Me.
Yeah,
James?
was it less than a year ago? Me and Chris sat down and watched the entire Mad Max series. So
The only thing I had seen from this movie was the gas in the headlight scene. That's it.
yeah.
I had seen the very ending scene, and that's it.
Yep.
Well, so if you had just watched that scene,
Yeah.
it would give you a picture of this movie that might lead you to believe that Mad Max is awesome. Because you'd be like, whoa, what a badass, oh my god!
Well, so I had seen that scene and Road Warrior. So, yes, Mad Max seemed very awesome. to me.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, wow! Oh, Mel Gibson is, no wonder that shit put him on the map, wow!
That's a direct quote from my first viewing of this movie.
I really, Now, okay, I think if we were going to give this episode of John Hates Movies a title, we should call it Mad Colin. I wasn't even going to review this movie because last time Chris didn't even watch the movie. So I figured, hey, if you can only do half of the job, I'm just not going to fucking do the second half. So originally what I was going to talk about was the first time I watched Mad Max when I was a kid. Also, this is my, you get one every 2 months where you just get drunk during the podcast, and I've chosen Mad Max.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your menstrual cycle.
No.
You get one every 2 months.
No, but I'm very sensitive about that right now. What I was going to talk about, instead of talking about Mad Max, was the person that first showed me Mad Max, which was this kid I went to high school with, and his name was Judd. And
he sounds like a lovely man.
He was, actually. He was a good kid. And I'll tell you, Judd loved apocalypse movies. Like, he showed me Mad Max and I think Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome. And he showed me Damnation Alley and a whole bunch of them. And he just thought these movies were so cool. And I would sort of sit there with my nose wrinkled up like, I don't know, man. You know, and he loved Scooby-Doo. And he was one of those kids that had Looney Tunes in, gangster clothes t-shirts, you know?
Colin, I'm going to take a wild guess. Is Judd dead?
I don't know, but I wouldn't doubt it. Oh no, man! Judd's a good dude, and there's a part of me that hopes that he's somehow listening to this podcast because he's a good kid, and
hang in there, Judd.
Yeah, man. He was one of those kids that wanted to join the military. Everybody knew a kid that wanted to be in the army, and that was Judd. But I will give Judd Long some serious credit because the guy had some sand. Judd made a bet in 8th grade. Somebody bet him $100 that he would not act like he was a vampire for an entire year. And he took that bet.
That doesn't seem like a hard bet to win.
No, that's the thing, is he was like, oh, I will have your $100, sir. And so for the first year that I knew this kid, he was dead set on telling everybody that he was legitimately a vampire. He was the first person I ever met who was into vampires, and he maintained that he is a vampire. And I was like, Judd, you're not a vampire. And he's like, yes, I am. I drink blood for sustenance. And I'm like, I mean, he didn't have that vocabulary at the time.
I drink blood for living stuff.
I drink blood to eat. And he's like, and I'm like, dude, it's daytime. But bless his heart, he told everybody he was a vampire for a fucking year. And at the end of that year, he's like, my God, I'm glad that's over.
It was really hard for him to not act like a vampire for a year?
No, it's just, he just knew everybody thought he was an idiot, but he got it, well, in theory, he got $100 out of the deal. I always figured that he never got paid out because who
chips off $100 to a kid not act like a vampire?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
No. He had to act like a vampire for a year.
He had to act like a vampire for a year.
He had to keep up the game or else the $100 would go away.
Oh, I was hearing that the other way.
No. He had to act. He would receive $100 of some other kid's money if he acted like a vampire for a year. I never knew who that other kid was, but I knew that Judd Long stuck to his vampire story until he didn't have to anymore, and so for a year he was a vampire. And Judd was the first kid that I ever knew who wrote fan fiction, and he wrote Dragonlance fan fiction, and except where he was Raceland. And he even included me in his fan fiction. I was really flattered, but it was a little weird. So Judd was the first
My
person.
fan fiction depicting Colin is kind of weird too.
Well, it's funny.
Maybe
especially the new one coming out.
Maybe
tomorrow.
someday our podcast people will write fan fiction about us.
I pray that never happens.
Just
chains Colin to a car and says,
okay,
you can cut through that.
Listeners, if you have an idea for fan fiction for the five of us, write it. Please.
Oh my God!
And we will act it out.
No, we'll post it. We'll post it.
Guarantee 100%. If you write fan fiction about us, we will act it out.
I second this.
Oh, Jesus God! All right,
Okay,
I'm
we
in.
will act out your JHM fan fiction. That is a promise.
That's a promise.
No veto.
From John hates movies
within
to
reason.
you.
No.
Within reason.
No. We're not gonna.
As long as it's not
Guys, you got-
racist. Like,
Racist
Actually,
is
hold
the
on.
only limitation
We're gonna-
because I'm just like, okay, so I'm
Me
just
and
gonna
John
write-
are brothers. That's all I'm
So I
saying.
can-
Because someone's
Okay,
going to
so
write a
get down
fucking
here.
conga line of dicks.
All right,
And-
settle down, guys. Settle down, guys. If we're gonna, this is the rules. All right,
The new John Hates Movie
We will-
fanfiction contest.
we will perform it. We will not act it out. We will
The form
perform
of
it.
radio theater.
Yes.
No racism. Please no over the top. Like women
Right,
hating.
yeah.
None of us buy
we
that
do that
shit.
ourselves.
What?
no, we don't.
Only gay,
Uh,
only gay stuff involving me and Eric. No, none of
Right.
the other guys. I mean,
No, gay stuff is fine. Incest stuff is off the table. Right?
also,
we're just gonna say pizza anyway.
See, it's funny.
so-
He said incest stuff is off the table, but when he first said incest, I heard princess. I'm like, princess stuff is off
Oh
the
my
table.
God! Will somebody
Actually,
please
Okay.
make me
We can
a
all
princess?
be
I would totally do
Some-
princess stuff. If we were all
Somebody
princesses, that would be the
please
best
make me a
fanfic ever.
princess. That's all
James,
I ever wanted.
James Princess and Colin Princess.
Maybe Christina will finally notice me.
Okay.
Okay.
Judd.
So back to Mad Max. Anyway, Judd Law. so Judd wrote fan fiction about Dragonlance, starring he and I sometimes, and he wrote Post-apocalyptic.
How much sex did you guys have in this fan fiction?
Whoa.
None. I was just there to acknowledge that he was the superior male.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. I mean,
But
Wow,
did you
Judd, you're
acknowledge
so
that on your
strong.
knees?
No. He never wrote anything gross. But no, like, and actually, he was a pretty good writer for a middle school fan fiction. Like, he was a
Slash vampire.
like Judd was a cool dude, and he had the misfortune of hanging out with a bunch of like really typical counterculture '90s kids that all thought he was like they thought he was a dope, but he was really like way cooler than the rest of all these other kids. Like nobody knew it because we were dumb fuck teenagers. That said, Judd showed me Mad Max and Damnation Alley and a bunch of other post-apocalypse movies, and so I've just sort of determined that like kids are stupid and they like stupid things. They don't like good things. They like dumb things. Like there are motorcycles in this movie, therefore when you're 14 you fucking like it. Like there's an explosion in there. Like a car explodes in this movie for basically no reason. Like Knight Rider and like Toe Killer and all, there's dudes in leather and there's screaming and there's guns and there's wheels and you can smell the exhaust when you watch Mad Max. But this movie's fun.
I'm confused why you don't have, like, you listed all these awesome things and then you're going to say something like, I didn't like
This
it.
movie, this movie's fucking stupid. So, okay, first, you got like the first hour of the movie, which is basically a movie about Jim Goose, which could have just been its own movie, and then it's like
Jim Goose Adventures.
like
yeah.
Jim Goose Adventures, and I actually found Jim Goose fairly interesting, and then he gets killed, but he's buddies with Max, and he gets killed. We still don't start the revenge story for another
He's
5
not
minutes.
killed. He's just burned up.
Dude,
Well,
He dies.
dude,
He
he's
dies.
dead.
He just burned up. He just burned up.
He's,
he does.
he's dead.
Burned up.
He is dead as a
he comes
burned up
coming back.
doornail.
He comes back in the 80s and co-pilots with
He runs into Mad Max and he's like,
And then
This
he
movie
dies?
Yeah,
is
then he dies.
only post-apocalyptic because the Netflix synopsis tells you so.
That is an exact point that I
that's
wanted
the
to make. This seems like just regular
Okay.
Australia in the 80s.
Yes, it's just
Well,
Australia.
it's actually the
Australia!
reason they say it's post-apocalyptic is because it's on the decaying end of a society.
That's
You guys
Australia.
And
obviously did
technically,
not
okay,
listen.
actually, let me put that back. It's not post-apocalyptic. It's dystopian.
Actually, Chris, even you were wrong.
What?
This is actually well, you know what? I'll save it for my end. But this is actually the beginning of the apocalypse.
That's literally
And
what
they
I
make
was
it-
saying.
No, you said dystopian. This is the beginning of the apocalypse. This is
Right.
like-
But technically, it's not a post-apocalyptic film. That's what I was correcting. In this film, it's just dystopian.
John's right. This movie's so stupid, the world killed itself.
no.
The description of this
Actually-
film is literally a dystopian film.
Yes! It tells you that in the description of it, but not in the fucking movie.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does, but the
Yes.
total absence of stuff.
Okay.
It's like you said, the
Absence of
decaying
stuff.
end of a society right before the
Okay,
apocalypse.
You know,
this
like
movie-
a
Everything
completely
runs
full
out.
society. You know, police that can actually
There aren't enough
cover
police to
things.
take
Yeah.
care of all the bad
It's a
guys. That
society
is dystopian.
that is failing.
Setting wise, this
Okay,
movie takes
there were-
place on
there-
a
if you
drive
listen-
between Detroit and Grand Rapids.
There you go. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah.
No, East Lansing's a lot busier than this.
Guys, they blew up the gas reserves with nukes. That's why they're in
When
the
did
middle
that
of an
happen?
energy crisis. It's post-apocalyptic. It's in the freaking running commentary that's all throughout the fucking movie.
Well, like the radio
I
stuff.
must-
Did you guys
been
listen to
sleeping.
any of the radio chatter?
So the radio stuff was really hard to make
Yeah.
out for me. Like I
Oh,
know
I
it was
watched it with
there, but
subtitles on
like
because I watched it.
oh, see
in the morning.
that would have been nice because like I could hear the radio stuff, but I didn't really understand what it was saying.
Yeah, they're in the middle of a post-war
Which they-
energy
which
crisis
They
throughout
bring to
this
the
entire
audience
movie.
through tell, not show.
Exactly. I didn't say it was good.
That's not entirely
I'm just
true.
saying it's there.
That's one of the main reasons why the V8s are disappearing. Why they can't run the cruisers with V8s because there's
No
the fuel
gas.
for it.
Yeah.
And then it's just elaborated on in
They go into it in
Road
depth
Warrior.
in
Oh,
Road Warrior,
and
but
that's
obviously
failed.
Okay. So
It's equal to the
so not
movie.
this movie.
You tell one story at a time,
So not
Colin.
this movie. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. Because we already said that the shit that goes down in Rocky 4 doesn't affect how good Rocky is, meaning the good shit in Road Warrior doesn't affect the fact that Mad Max sucks.
Jesus Christ!
Am I wrong?
Please,
This
Yes.
is wonderful.
war never changed.
there's a fucking war going on right now.
This is war, motherfucker. Aren't you glad I bought beer? All right. Now, I've gone pretty hard on Mad Max, but there's some things that I actually did enjoy about Mad Max. For one, I got a real kick out of the complete inverse of the usual cop and supervisor relationship. Usually it's like, I just want to work a good case. Ah, you're a bum, McNulty. Ah, I hate you. You're a gaping asshole. This time it's like, I'm out of this chicken shit outfit. No, come on, take a vacation. Chill out. You want to be a cop? You're a good cop.
Well, because there aren't enough people being cops.
Well,
as
no,
it
that's
is.
definitely true.
Yeah.
But like, like that was.
He's supervisor / resource management.
Yeah, normally it's like you're a loose gun.
Yeah,
God
you're a
damn
loose
it, you're
cannon.
causing way too much destruction. And in this one, he's like,
loose guns.
yeah, he's like, we need more loose guns.
Loose cannon, get back out there and
Do
start
you have any
firing.
friends that are loose cannons, please?
We've got these awesome leather uniforms.
You get shoulder pads. How awesome is that? There was some actual dialogue in 55 minutes and 30 seconds into this movie. You get some actual character development and dialogue, which is nice. I mean, it's sort of better than you can hope for, at least out of the first hour. I took notes and I just didn't want to read any of them. I would like to see I would like to see a remake of Mad Max though. And now I didn't know they were making a new one, so what I had written is a little bit Tom Hardy's a great choice, and
Just watch the trailer, the second trailer
I
for
will.
the movie, and
I will.
it's the best thing I've
and
seen
honestly,
in a long
I
time.
would probably watch the movie, despite that I really didn't enjoy Mad Max at all. I think that the concept of Mad Max is very legitimate, and I think that if it was made today, it would be probably a great movie. Part of what Mad Max suffers from is, honestly, this is an incredibly low-budget movie made in a place
Yes.
very far from Hollywood, where they don't have the resources or the experience. This seems like a movie that a bunch of kids made, and I don't mean that as an insult. This is a low-budget indie movie that a bunch of guys down in Australia made, and they didn't have any money for sets and effects. They had some good.
That held the highest
Grossing.
cost to grossing.
Yes.
For 20 years until
It made
Blair
100,000 kangaroo eggs.
Witch. Yep. And those bitches hatched.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mad Max has a lot of love from a lot of people. This captured the imaginations of a lot of people. I firmly believe that filmmaking has improved over the years. So when you go back, some of those gems like Rocky really stand up, but a lot of stuff unfortunately just doesn't. And Mad Max suffers from that. If they made it today, this would probably be an awesome movie because they would improve the effects, the pacing, the sets would be, you'd see this post-apocalyptic thing. You would get to do a lot more show than tell.
Once again, just watch the trailer.
I will. I will do so. I wanted to see a remake with Kit Harington as Max, Alan Tudyk as the toe cutter, and maybe Emma Stone as Jessie, the wife. I thought that would be good, but I mean, Tom Hardy's a fucking great choice. So I think that Mad Max is just sort of before its time. I didn't enjoy watching it, but I acknowledge there's something here for a lot of people, and maybe when we were 14 it was cool, but I want something different now.
So shout out to Judd.
Shout out to my man
Judd.
Judd, wherever you are. Also, I'm really glad that in my life I actually met somebody named Judd.
My name
My
is
name's
Judd.
Judd.
So Eric,
Yeah, I got some notes.
what you got for us, Eric?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
It boggles my mind how so simpatico me and Colin can be on some movies,
Yeah.
and how fucking world apart we can be on others. Like it's I swear to God, and when we're on totally different hemispheres with our opinions, Colin goes for the fucking jugular.
This isn't the first time Colin's done this. He assassinated Devin so bad that Devin has never been back on the podcast.
That's true.
Like Devin was his first victim, where he snuck up in the leaves, rose up, and just hit him with a sniper shell.
I'm hiding in the bushes.
I really liked
That's
this
Colin.
movie as a child. Your childhood sucks.
Well, Colin doesn't like his time wasted. So speaking of wasting time, Eric, what have you got for us?
Okay.
Oh.
So
That was a Bob Hope joke.
So my first note is the open credits and the title screen are just amazingly cheap. It's like somebody typed them on a typewriter with clear paper and then just ran them over a black screen, and that's how they
Probably
did
what they actually did.
Yeah.
You know what though? The Mad Max graphic itself is kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I would love to see a movie that does the same opening now, like a big high budget movie that does that incredibly 80s synth over black with just the really
I think
shitty
they have
letters.
done that.
I'm sure that has.
Well,
I'm pretty sure Tarantino will take.
did they
care
do
of
that in
for you.
Drive?
I don't
remember.
No, Drive had pink,
Anyway,
electric pink.
yeah. So when Goose and Max, or I think it's actually just Goose, is at the choke and puke.
Yep. It's just, yeah.
And he gets called out because the Knight Rider is terrorizing. So when Goose gets the call, there are a bunch of super ambitious tow truck drivers that just follow him. I just really love the tow truck drivers oh shit, the cop's getting called out. There's some shit going down and we can make some money.
Yeah,
I like
that
the
was a nice
ambitious tow
touch.
truck drivers. Yeah. So after everybody gets their shit fucked up, the dispatch calls Max and is like, Max, we're going to need you on this one. And instead of Max throwing it into second gear and just going super fast, he just kind of moseys out onto the pavement. He just backs out real slow, plays it super fucking cool, and just sits there until he sees the Knight Rider crest the ridge. And then full barrel aims, and runs him down. It's really cool. The way he responds to the call is very cool. So one thing that they did in this movie is a lot of really super quick cuts, and it made it so the action was all in fast forward in this movie.
They
Or,
used
a lot of it.
Literally
fast forward.
in a lot of the scenes.
And a lot of the editing felt like it was chopped together. They just took one scene and then just smashed it and put it together with another scene. This was obviously very low budget. So when the punks are all rolling in to that very sparsely populated town that they end up terrorizing, they all do this really kind of whimsical synchronized motorcycle park where they all just kind of back into the motor or into their parking spaces in unison.
It was so
just
cute.
it struck me as very
And then Toe Cutter tells them all to rev their engine.
yeah, my exact note is synchronized motorcycle parking. So cute.
They were a pretty cute gang of post-apocalyptic biker terrorists.
Right. So the next one is, it happens when the one terrorist gets arrested, or the motorcycle punk gets arrested, and they're at the cop station, and the music over that scene is very One Atom 12 or like Hill Street Blues. Like it's really like TV cop drama type of like cop music. Like it's pretty cheesy.
The score as a whole is incredibly intrusive.
Yeah.
It's a bad score.
Yeah, it's part of the reason I had to watch this with subtitles is because the score is just such a fucking hot mess.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not good.
Yeah,
It's very
roll
dated.
bad.
The score was done by a guy named Brian May, but when I looked at the Wikipedia, they made the distinction not Brian May from Queen, a different Australian shitty guy named Brian May.
He requested to be distanced from the soundtrack of Mad Max.
The next note just says bondage cops. Like these cops are like exactly what the uniforms are like the costumes for bondage daddies.
Yeah.
Like
All
these
their
are
badges
bondage
just
daddy
say
cops.
daddy.
Right. Did anyone else notice the punk that was in red leather that looked exactly like Mark Maron?
No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, he lost his hand.
Yeah, it was the guy that lost his hand. He looks exactly like Mark Maron. The next note is 1 hour in. It feels like a lot longer. I suspect this is because so much of the action happens sped up. Because at 1 hour in, at the beginning of the movie, all the action happened within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then not much happens for a long time.
I don't know. Goose fucks a singer or something.
Yeah. So my next note has to do with Goose. It says after Goose dies,
Off screen.
after Goose dies, this movie grinds to a screeching halt. It really does. Because Mad Max is bummed. He doesn't want to be a cop anymore. And he just goes on his vacation and they just laid on the brakes. And this movie just died at that point. And so
he died a little.
So the last note, it says,
I died a little.
yeah. If I'm being honest, I started out super excited for this movie, but it ended up being a pretty rough watch.
Yeah.
I really wanted to love this movie, but it just didn't follow through.
What about the end? Did you enjoy the end?
It was good, but it
not
didn't,
after sitting through the.
it
First
wasn't.
Part of it?
It wasn't satisfying.
Oh.
I wanted more. I wanted him to have a one-on-one fight with Toe Cutter.
Too fucking right.
Yeah.
I wanted a fucking fist fight with the toe cutter.
I wanted to, or at least a chase scene with the Toe Cutter,
It
something.
was kind of a chase scene, but yeah,
not really.
I wanted to watch Road Warrior. That's what this movie made me do.
See,
I mean, it really.
I had seen Road Warrior, and I thought it was Mad Max, so I thought that was kind of what I was sitting down to watch. It was
Me
Road
too.
Warrior,
Me too.
and just some crazy shit going across the Australian outback.
Well,
But that
if
is
we didn't
not
have
what happened
Mad
here.
Max, we wouldn't have Road Warrior.
That is
That's
true.
true.
That's
true.
not necessarily true. They could have
Pretty
just
true.
made Road Warrior.
I think they would have had trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
It was
needed
off
to
the
learn
success of this
first.
film that they were even able to do another film.
So this movie is. See, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen this movie, I think it's worth watching because there are some cool things that happen in the movie, but it's not a great movie. It's just not. The cars are cool. Some of the scenery is pretty cool. I like the look of the Australian outback and the way. So this movie looks a lot different than Road Warrior. It's a little Road Warrior happens in the desert. This movie, it's kind of a more vibrant landscape. I don't know. I don't feel bad for watching this movie. I think that people won't be wasting their time if they watch this movie, but I don't think it's a great movie.
Well,
that's my take.
I mean, this is a sort of legendary franchise. And if you are a lover of film, you should watch the legendary franchises.
Yeah.
And so despite, I agree with you, I didn't like Mad Max, but if you want to know about this franchise, you got to watch it,
Yep.
and you watch Road Warrior and you watch Beyond Thunderdome and then you watch Tom Hardy kick some ass in what's hopefully going to be a good movie, you're absolutely right, Colin. They did an awful lot of telling instead of showing. With and I know it would have been brutal to see, but it would have added a little bit of gravity to when they run down Mad Max's wife and kid. If you would have actually seen anything from them afterwards. I wanted something. I don't react well to brutality against women and children, but I wanted more there.
They didn't show anything at all. Like they just implied that they were on the pavement.
I don't know, dude. That shoe in the middle of the road, that is like a seminal scene. Like actually, a lot of people
again,
can
I'm
point
sure
to
the
that
reason they
scene.
didn't do it was simply budgeting.
I think that Chris is right, and I will.
They did the smarter decision by not trying to do it and just end up having it look cheesy and just doing it in your own imagination.
One thing they do right in that scene is they hang on the shot of the shoe in the middle of the road for kind of an uncomfortable moment, and
the ball rolling down the street until it just stops and sits there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean that's a good moment, and I think that this whole movie is sort of a picture of like working with what you have. I wish I liked it more.
It seems like some of the like additions they added to the cars were spray painted cardboard. Like,
Probably.
That's true.
Probably.
I was surprised no note about the chief answering his door and nothing but leather pants and an ascot.
Well, he's bondage daddy. He's leather daddy.
He's like
I'm just
the
watering
most
my
leather daddy
plants.
of everybody in this movie.
Yeah.
Come on in, Max. Let me invade your personal space.
Hang on, let me take
Even with
the ball gag out. All right, now what can I do for you?
Yeah, like Tobias Funke would feel like right at home with in this police force.
Definitely.
Those leather pants were pretty tight. I don't
Get
want
me something that says "Discipline Daddy."
something that says "Daddy's into leather."
So Eric, are you
I'm
pretty
done.
much done? All right, James.
All right.
What'd you watch this week?
First off, I
don't
just
spoil this joke.
yeah. First off, I just want to say I don't know what anybody's talking about. I mean, this movie had lots of cars and some motorcycles, but nobody mentioned any boats or planes or Jerry Lewis or Jonathan Winters.
It's a mad world.
I love that film. God, why didn't we watch that?
The comedy.
Except it's like 6 hours long, isn't it?
It's like 4 hours long.
That
Is
is
it
a
4?
dull fucking movie.
It actually is kind of lame.
I've
It was
never
Oh,
seen
the,
really? It's been a while since I've seen it, so.
It's not nearly as funny for all the talent that they have on it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of ridiculous because Rat Race, which is pretty much the same movie, was funnier than It's a Mad
Okay,
World.
but also
not a great
Rat Race
movie.
was
No.
pretty funny. Like,
Is Cannonball Run still funny?
I
No.
like it, but
Cannonball
apparently-
Run to me more is a racing movie than
Yeah.
it is.
Dun, dun,
yeah,
dun.
but it's good.
Well, Cannonball Run and Cannonball Run 2 is not that much of a racing movie because it's more about the side gags. Because they
I'm
stop
thinking Gumball.
Yeah, Gumball is a racing
Gumball's a
movie.
good movie.
Yeah. But Cannonball, they stop constantly to get into an all-out brawl, and then
Yeah, and like
I
Dom
think
DeLuise,
finishes
right?
the movie.
Oh,
What if
sometimes-
he shows up?
Sometimes we all say things on this podcast like, yeah, that's a good movie. And then we review that movie and we find that it's not a good movie.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean,
I think he's talking about the racing movie done right.
No, I mean, no, man, I'm talking about Leprechaun again.
I know.
You know,
I'm never
I think
going
we
to live
all
that
knew
down.
Leprechaun.
Racing movies done right. You mean Days of Thunder, right?
oh God.
Good movie.
and John,
It's an all right movie.
Let's be
I'll
clear.
take that back.
Let's-
It's been an all right movie.
let's be real here, John. Warwick Davis is never going to live that down. The poor guy.
So, James, what
Sorry.
do you think of Mad Max?
I'm kind of in the same boat as Eric. I watched it, like I said, I watched this less than a year ago with Chris. So when time came to watch it again, I sat down and I pretty much fast forwarded through like a lot of the scenes with Max and his family, but watched like everything else.
Yeah.
The scenes with the biker gang, all of them are good. All of them are fun and enjoyable to watch. The car scenes. Okay, now this movie has a ton of continuity errors. In like every single racing or car chase scene, there is like a moment where a bicycle that's in front is all of a sudden behind the pack in the next cut.
Yeah.
You know, just, cars appearing out of nowhere and
Yep.
smashing into people and stuff.
How about how the Knight Rider goes from manic to depressive in 1 second?
Yes. for no reason. It's not like just because Max is behind him.
Right.
Also, yeah. He can't even see it's Max. It's just another interceptor to him. But
Well, no,
This guy,
hold
this
on,
guy
though.
hasn't driven off on a tangent and destroyed himself yet.
I actually have a theory about that. That in defense of that,
yeah.
the other cars are labeled Pursuit. Max's car is labeled Interceptor. There is a difference between these cops. Those dudes want to pull him over. Max is gonna wreck his shit.
Yeah, the other ones want to get him. Max is going to get him.
Like the Pursuit are the guys that pull people over, give them tickets, whatever. The Interceptor is the dude that you send in when shit's got to get real. And so I will actually give that. I'll give Mad Max that.
Yeah, okay. I didn't notice that.
There is a
but he
visual
starts
difference.
crying immediately.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I mean,
Joe Cutter knows my name.
now, on the other hand,
I'm the Knight Rider.
on the other hand, this dude should have fucking known they'd send an Interceptor out, and he shouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah.
And oh no, I broke the law so bad. But I understood the difference there. I understood why that change happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see, I didn't catch
missed
that.
that.
I thought it was just because the guy all of a sudden thought that this cop was badder than the other cop.
Well, no,
but
no,
I guess
there
it
was a
was, but
visual
yeah, there was-
cue
yeah,
that
okay.
this dude is badder than the other cops.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, he's definitely notably badder.
Yeah, actually, I think even though Mad Max's reveal could have been a little better, it was still pretty damn awesome.
It was good.
And the lead up to it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the lead up to it was perfect. The reveal was almost perfect. The entire scene in the beginning was sweet. I love it when they smoke the van. They hit the just real fucking car shit in movies. Instead of now where you got these, fucking they put pistons.
Everyone's
in the
going
bottom
down
of
the
car.
highway, and now we're going to flip a car and then CG 5 getting destroyed.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then reuse the exact footage. Thank you,
It's
Michael Bay.
certainly fun to see some practical effects in action.
Yeah,
that
and I
car
think people are going
blasts
back to doing
through that trailer.
practical effects
Yeah,
in movies.
Especially with cars,
Yep.
it makes such a difference.
Absolutely.
And how fucking terrified knowing that this movie was basically some dude and his buddies who had probably made a number of movies before this that they showed at their barbecues or what have you.
No, this is George Miller's first movie.
Very first.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm sure he did short films at the very
Yeah,
end.
probably yes.
Yeah, one does not
But-
just make a feature film out of nowhere.
Yeah.
George Miller was an ambulance driver, and that's why he got all the idea for chases and gore.
Oh shit. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, to be the driver of the blue van in that scene. Okay, don't worry, he's just gonna hit your back end.
All right. Hey, mate, what am I doing in this scene? Nah, just sort of drive, and you'll know what to do.
Make sure you drive past the center line in the road, okay?
Right. So you're gonna be perpendicular to the road, and Bernie's gonna come in and do his scene, and you just sort of roll with what he does. All right.
Actually, if you pay attention to that, there's a cut right in the middle of that. I highly doubt there was anybody in that van.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because after it's still spinning.
Yeah,
You
they
see a
probably
guy in
pushed
the
it.
driver's seat. Okay.
I'm sure.
That's fucked up. But
So George Miller has done Mad Max movies. He did Babe, Pig in the City.
wow.
He did Happy Feet 2,
Wow.
and now he's doingAd Max again.
He did.
That's it.
He did Happy Fetus.
One of
my favorites.
The jump, you can tell he learned a lot making this
Oh
movie.
yeah. Yep.
The next movie is so much cleaner, and with this movie, it's you have to learn with film to not just say what you need to say in the scenes, but you have to say it with as least as you can put on film as possible. So, that's honestly the biggest complaint with Mad Max is just too much. People talk too much, they clarify too much. More can get away with being implied or shown instead of told. But that said, I friggin' love Toe Cutter.
Yes, Toe Cutter's great. He really is.
I got to give you that one too. I really did enjoy Toe Cutter.
Obviously, there was a saxophone scene with Mad Max's wife. Some of the goofy things in this movie that I fucking love. Just cutting to Mad Max's wife doing it's got the sexy sax music going, and you're like, okay, and then it cuts and she's fucking playing the sax, and that's so rare because normally only big buff dudes are allowed to do sexy sax. You
That's
know?
right, yeah.
Dude,
Especially in
that
vampire movies
saxophone.
when they still believe.
That saxophone is like as
still
big as she
believe.
is too. She's tiny. She should
Still believe.
she should not be playing a tenor. She should be playing an alto.
But anyway, the Goose's girlfriend, like that scene with
The
the fucking
disco
licorice
scene?
road.
That's great.
Sticking
Man.
like your tires on a licorice road.
Right.
Let me do my sexy lip lick.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
Oh God.
That was god
that
awful.
yeah.
My guess is that she probably
She was
saw herself
something.
on film and then dug a hole in the ground and never came out of it again.
Just sort of laid down and waited for the inevitable.
Licorice Road charted on top, like the top 5, but she never heard about it because she was
Oh.
living in the ground
Oh
because of embarrassment.
God.
Jesus.
Doing.
So I think to wrap it up, I covered everything. I really liked Bubba. I thought he was really cool. I think he reminded me of Rob Halford,
okay.
which leads me to my last point.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Over the horizon, dangerous and obscene, the most flamboyant fight gang that you've ever seen. Rides a mental monster, breathing smoke and fire, coming to vengeance for the rider. This is the Two-Carter. This is the Two-Carter. Quickly touching faces like a viper strike. You must take your hat off by the coffin of the night. Mysteriously was spoken for a leader of a gang. He is ambiguously gay. This is the Two-Carter. This is the Two-Carter.
Goes on.
Only weakness is old ladies, though the master hides it well. One can lock him in the closet if she has a shotgun shell.
Dude, you sound like King Diamond.
Sounds like Dio.
When you have raised desire, you will hear his hiss. You don't know if he'll shoot you or give you a kiss. He will lick your ice cream or lay you in a field. Now he's going under deadly wheels. This is the Two-Carter. This is the Two-Carter. Horse of steel. Two-Carter men. Leave wheels. Two-Carter.
Oh my God. James.
This is the
God. James.
Fuck it. I'm out.
James, you are legitimately the closest thing I've ever known to a mad genius.
Well, it's going to be really. I'll be honest with you. It's going to be really hard following your review there, James. You summed it up pretty nicely. Really, honestly, I don't think this is a terrible movie. It's slow. It's not super great, but it's like the only one of its kind for its time. There's certainly a lot of chase, but they're actually trying to establish a narrative, and they do something here that I really kind of appreciate, which is that you can, if you're a big fan of the franchise, and if you like post-apocalyptic stuff, like this is the franchise that started it. There was no post-apocalyptic before Mad Max. I mean, sure there was in science fiction books, but it wasn't a movie genre before this happened. And the background stuff laid down, while you can't really get it, obviously enough people picked it up originally to know what the fuck they were doing in Road Warrior, so that Road Warrior didn't come completely out of left field for them. Mm-hmm. So it had to have been picked up by enough people for them to get that this is the beginning of the end of the world. And the one thing that is seminal about this series is the way the fuck over the top everybody but Mad Max is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's true. I didn't realize that. Yeah, he's like the only level-headed dude.
Goose is probably the closest thing to normal, other than
right. Yeah. But everybody else, you can see them laying down that groundwork in this movie. Everybody is like a fucking Coen Brothers comedy.
Yeah,
character.
everyone's lost their mind.
Everyone's lost their mind. And it's really visible in The Road Warrior, but in Mad Max, you can see them trying to do things. So if you're into like seeing where something got its start and like paying, because you can see the potential for greatness in this movie, which is the only reason that I don't just totally and completely trash it, is because there are elements of this movie where it's kind of like, we here at John Hates Movies have this thing. We call it, hey, I'm doing something here. And it means we let each other do something, even if it sucks, and even if it's not, even if it's not totally coming into play. This movie is that. This movie is, if you can get yourself in that mindset that you're watching the beginning of something and that somebody's doing something here, it's a pretty cool educational thing. But if you're looking to just be entertained, like you can get with the second and the third, and definitely with
the second movie.
Okay, we're of different minds here. I personally am a huge fan of Beyond Thunderdome.
Whoa.
Seriously, guys? Yeah. Nobody else?
No, man. Like I barely remember it.
Pig farts.
And honestly, like
pig farts.
I remember liking Beyond Thunderdome better than Road Warrior.
I love Beyond Thunderdome. I think it's a lot of fun.
Tina Turner, man.
Yeah, heavy metal Tina Turner. I don't know, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I'm starting to understand why me and Colin are so far apart. He likes Thunderdome.
We don't have another 2 hours to go into Thunderdome.
To bring it all home here, short of everybody else being wrong about Thunderdome except Colin. That's
right.
Yeah, that's right. Thunder Bros.
Yeah.
Yep. Listen, bro.
Okay,
anyway.
so I just want to point out that I'm the only one that genuinely just likes the movie.
Correct.
Yes,
It's
you are the only one.
Correct.
So
This
In
is
the
not,
world.
This is not a movie.
the world.
If you're interested in being entertained, this is not the movie for you. If you're interested in seeing a burgeoning director learn how to film, this is actually a pretty fucking interesting movie. And that's basically what I believe. And as I'm always right, we'll leave it at that.
that's never been established.
We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor.
New from Vlarf Industries
And Guy Fieri, we're gonna roll out
with some flavor jams.
Gosh, this Muslix is so bland.
Sounds like you need some flavor jams.
Wow, flavor jams!
That's right, it's flavor jams. Flavor up your life with some flippity flam flavor jams.
You want caramel onion? Bam! Flavor jams!
Oh, Mom, meatloaf again. That's so boring.
Jam that meatloaf up with some jalapeno pancake flavor jams.
You want jalapeno flavored pancakes? Bam! Flavor jams!
Damn it, guys!
I love heroin, but this is actually a little old for me.
Hey, you junkie trash! You want to flavor up your fix?
You should do what I do when I bump cocaine. Put a little strawberry sauce in your heroin.
Strawberry fields forever. I'm a junkie jammer.
Just say flippity hibbity flippity flam flavity 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 jam.
Wait, what?
Flippity hibbity flippity flam flavity 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 jam.
Wait, I can do this.
Remember your training.
Breathe deep. Together.
I'm a junkie jammer.
Bam! Flavor jam.
Okay, good enough.
Flavor Jam is a sport drink and a flavoring for food. Available at your local hardware stores.
Look for it in the tile cleaner aisle.
Remember, Flarf sees everything you do. Flavor Jam.
Okay, so it is time for the game. Before we get started, we need to hand out the listener suggestions. We got a couple this week. From Christine Peruski, we have The Golden Child. Who wants to take that one?
Eric's not speaking up, so I think I'll take it.
All right, James has The Golden Child.
Sorry, Christine.
All right, then we have another from John DeFort, which is Snowpiercer.
Well, he did mention in his post that I would. He mentioned my name, so I'll play for John this week.
Yep, and I'm actually going to personally take this one here. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe I should hold off on taking it because we have two more, actually. We have one from Troy, I'm a Beer LePan this week.
I've heard he's a beer.
Drinking a beer. You got a beer, drink a beer, man.
Troy is very excited about this. He wants he's a longtime listener, first time caller. He wants someone to do the Toxic Avenger for him.
So Troy messaged me via Facebook. He says, "Hey, you guys, you guys should review the Toxic Avenger." I said, "No." He goes,
he messaged me.
Yeah, man, you should. It'll be great. And I was like, "Don't do that to me." And he goes, "No, it's really good. It's a good movie." And I was like, "Mm-mm." The acting is top notch. And I stopped responding. So
it's a good thing that Colin already has John DeFort. That means that Eric has got the only mystery choice this week. I'm going to be playing Toxic Avenger, and as because Troy is such a good fan of ours, he did want me to preface this. He wanted me to tell the listeners that because so many of you grew up with the cartoon, you will be surprised that the movie is nothing like the cartoon. I don't know anybody who watched the cartoon.
Who watched the Toxic Avenger
I'm
cartoon?
Apparently Troy
I'm
did.
already mad.
Troy did.
I'm already upset. I don't want to play anymore.
You better bring your A game,
I
Colin.
think I'm going to be sick next week.
All right, so Chris, you got a game for us, right?
I do have a game.
Oh boy.
It's a little game. Takes imagination.
Ooh.
And a little bit of anger. Which I think we all have.
I might do well.
So, this game is called Revenge. This game, you have to tell us what tragedy happened to you that caused you to get revenge, who you're getting revenge on, and what your tools are to favor this revenge. Obviously, we have Max, family died, so he goes after the gang that killed them with the car. You have, Kill Bill. You have the bride. They ruined her fucking life, so she takes a samurai sword to them. John Wick, they killed his puppy. He murders the fuck out of them with awesome. True story.
RoboCop.
They kill him. He comes back from the dead and kills
I got
them.
nothing.
Yep.
Anyway,
And
so
his tools are robots.
and there's one other caveat to the game. Colin loses. that was funny to me. I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding.
We'll
I'm
see.
But I'm kidding.
An example would be I was on a podcast. Colin ruined my fucking review. So my tools are the game, and Colin loses.
So that's a perfect example. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to come up with something.
Yeah.
What tragedy
Befelt you
exactly, and make it good.
Okay, so I'm over at my brother's house, okay? And there's nowhere to sit because his place is a mess. And
God damn it.
yeah. And so I demand that he kind of clean up while I visit. And so, he cleans off a spot on the couch for me, and I sit down while he does the rest of his cleaning, and I bring out my DS, and I'm playing Pokemon, right? And then something happens, and I get distracted, and I set my DS down, and my brother decides to take a break, and his big fat ass sits on my DS and devours my DS, destroys it, and snaps my Pokemon cartridge in half. Basically, summarily wiping out years and years of painstaking work to catch them all, which I have, by the way. I'm pretty proud of that. So I freak out, of course, and I hatch my revenge plot where I systematically collect 151 unique small animals and train them into vicious killers, while at the same time painting them and putting them in costumes so that they look like the original 151 Pokemon. And then I unleash critter hell on my brother by letting all these 150 different types of animals that have been literally starved and tortured for months into... This doesn't point me in a good picture, but you know what? That's right. But I let them all out so that they go into his house and they devour him, and then they shit him out, and I take the shit James and I put them in tiny little balls and then throw them at old people because
I'm not evil.
Because I'm a vile human being. So that's what I got. I hope you're proud, Troy.
Wow. That was really neat.
Well, I don't like revenge movies.
Well, you didn't need to come up with the whole plot, I don't think.
Yeah, and a subplot of defacing old people with bits of James.
Well, it's one of my favorite
Animal
Simpsons. We can throw donuts at old people.
Well, I don't have a whole story. I'm taking revenge against Colin's mom because she took my virginity. So the revenge I'm taking is to marry her, and I will become Colin's stepfather.
Well, joke's on you. I'll never respect you.
Go to your room, Colin. All right. So
James?
recently, today, I went to McDonald's and I got a sandwich that was all fucked up. So my revenge is against the person who built my sandwich wrong. And my tools are going to be my internet fame, and I'm going to use my internet fame to make it so that person has to live with Guy Fieri the rest of their life. And they will never make a sandwich wrong ever again.
Boy, I completely misunderstood this game.
Well, I think Colin probably has a whole story written out like you did. Okay, so Colin.
He used to be my friend once upon a time, but he ate all my Fruit Loops. He ate my Fruit Loops and stole my girl. She didn't want me anymore because she liked Fruit Loops and I didn't have any. But I showed him good. I went to his house. I went there with a bowl of oatmeal. I put the oatmeal in a disc tray of his old CD player. Why does he even still use that? Who uses CDs anymore?
Me.
When he tries to play his old Weezer CDs, he's in for a surprise. I'm sure he won't have any idea what happened. But I like to think that somehow, some way, in the back of his head, he knows it was me. He knows.
The Oatmeal Avenger.
I was really hoping for like a really bad joke in there, but
I
like
just
it
want
never
to point
came.
out, I think it was James was just doing the wind up at the end of the preview.
It's Fruit Loops, so the nose knows.
Nose.
Okay.
There we go.
Honestly, the group, I really wished Colin had. I expected more from Colin.
What?
I'm not gonna lie. I expected a lot more from Colin.
Pretty good, but you needed to wrap it up.
Yeah,
with, like,
you need to wrap it up with like
Weezer-based oatmeal pun.
right, exactly, and nothing ever came out of it. Like, okay,
Like in the porridge.
You hate
Yeah,
my
in the porridge.
in
the porridge.
The next time.
I feel safe. No one cares about my ways.
Y'all ask too much. And
I think we asked for just
porridge
enough.
where I belong. No one hears me sing.
I'm gonna give it to James.
So you heard it here. Next week we are watching The Golden Child, starring Eddie Murphy and yeah.
Christine. Why?
Robbed, I say. Robbed.
Christine.
We'll never watch Crossworlds. Never.
All right, good night, everybody. You can listen to our podcast on iTunes, the Stitcher app, or directly on our website. Feel free to send us a movie review suggestion. You'll have an equal chance of getting chosen for next week's movie review. You can reach us through social media, either by liking our Facebook page, John Hates Movies, or following our Twitter at John Hates Movies. Our music was composed by Kevin MacLeod. You can find this track and many more on his website, incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to hear someone say
5, 4, 2, 7, 3, 0, 8, 2, 4, 9, 3, 6, 6, 0, 4.